Hi, welcome to another edition of Talk with Confidence. This is where we have inspirational conversations with inspirational people. Today, I'm quite excited. We've got an inspirational guest in studio with us. Her name is Puseletso Modimogale, and she is a transformational coach. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Puseletso, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Well, I met Puseletso a while back, but I bumped into her, I think it was towards the end of last year at an award ceremony. She was receiving an award for a book that she wrote called Mind Retirement. We've been talking off air, and I believe the content will really touch you and will really transform you. But before we get into the book, I want to get into the person. Who is Puseletso?
Thank you, Confidence, for identifying me as one of the inspirational people. Awesome. I take that, and it's a good way of starting a year.
Yeah.
So thank you for honoring me
Wonderful.
Like that at the beginning of 2019.
Wonderful.
And I am aiming to pass that message forward.
Wonderful.
I am that. I am very transformational by nature, because I understand that I am here to serve a purpose, and one purpose that I know that God has sent me on this earth to do is to unleash potential of others while I unleash my own. So I am a woman who is determined to see change, who is able to help others to identify the skills and the talents that they have so that they can use it for the benefits of their own personal growth, and also in order for them to reach the next level of their life. So that's what I am driven to be. So that's how I would define myself: a woman of purpose, of impact, and the one who is called to unleash potential.
Wow, that's beautiful. The topic of transformation, it's a very broad topic.
Yes.
And in going into a book with such a broad topic, how did you decide what to write about?
I didn't decide what to write about. It was given to me as a seed in my mind. So I don't decide, I obey.
Wow.
And when that was given, then God helped me to unpack.
What was given?
Yes.
What are the seeds that were planted in your mind?
This year, actually last year, 2018, April 21st, I was turning 40. And when I was turning 40, I realized that I wasn't going to have a 40th birthday party, but I'm going to have and dedicate my life to serve into another dimension of my life where God was calling me into. I come from a background of being a therapist. I'm a masseuse, and I can tell you I'm known for a good massage.
Wow.
So having done that, it opened my world of wellness and understanding that those who come to me, they come because they have pains. But it so happened that it's not enough to only heal the pain that is external. We can never beat it up until you heal it from the mind.
Wow.
And because of the 22 years of me being a therapist has brought me to this journey where God stepped me up to another level of being a transformational, because I don't only heal the body from the physical, but only from the mental and the spiritual level.
Transformational, being a transformational coach, what do you hope to achieve? And what are the problems that you deal with or you tackle in a person's life, or maybe even in an organization?
Firstly, I would like to correct the statement of what I hope to achieve. I'm not hoping to achieve anything that God has not already put it in place. I know I am going to achieve what He says I am going to achieve.
Wow.
So it's in the knowing that I am operating. I'm not trying, I am doing.
Beautiful. I love
You see, so what I know that I am going to do is to liberate the minds that are enslaved in the thinking, in the way of thinking the things are of truth, to really define what is the truth, because the truth is only based on your perception.
Yeah.
And your truth and my truth will never be the same.
Yeah.
Up until we were bonded by the Spirit to reveal it to us in the same way. And what I'm hoping for is to see our people moving from what is holding them back, which are some of the things that we talk about, is self-sabotaging behaviors. Self-sabotaging behavior is this thing of for example, Batwatlering syndrome, that thing hold people back because they don't move, scared of what people will say, yet they are being given opportunity, yet they go pray and say, God, give me an opportunity. And when that opportunity arises, they are scared to move because of what people say. And that's, for me, a self-sabotaging behavior. And the question is, what causes that? We cannot only tell you that you are sabotaging yourself if I can help you to go to the roots of why you are thinking the way you do. These things are deeper because they are also cultured in us by how we were brought up, how we were schooled, the environment, and everybody whom we interact. I always ask, how much of that knowledge is your own, or is it from another person's perspective? Because at the end of the day, if we run with other people's truth, we'll never know who we are.
So you think it's a matter of tainted perceptions, and you come in to wash and reveal what is really true?
I don't also even do it for you. You do it for yourself. Being transformational, I can never do what God has actually put in your place. I can only bring the light to it. So I am not here to tell you. I am not here to do it for you. I am here to be the light that shines so that you can see what the greatness within you that already exists.
Wow. So you merely come in to uncover what is already there?
Actually, I'm not even going to uncover, because you're going to do that yourself.
So
I am going to make you see what you haven't seen, because you're sitting on the blind spot.
Wow. A lot of times when we engage with either therapists or transformational coaches, it's almost like we are looking for people to do the work for us. And I love what you're saying, because it's almost like you've come to me so that I can build the house for you. But here are the bricks. For you to love that house, you have to build that house. In essence, is it? And
here are the bricks gives people perception that I'm bringing the bricks to you. You're going to have to go find the bricks.
Go find
there are no bricks that I'm bringing.
I love that.
And that's the purpose of a transformational coach. Is the person who will definitely help you see what you were not aware of about you.
Wow.
In my years of running businesses, I've always told people that I know why some of my businesses failed. And they failed because I hired potential. And when you hire potential, you hire someone who's not yet aware of their abilities. And where I am sitting, I'm thinking they are going to execute it. And yet they haven't realized it. What they need at that stage, they need a mentor. They need somebody who can help them from where they are to bring them into light. And transformational journey is not an easy journey. You are going to meet people who will resist you and hate you for what you are saying or what you are doing, because they're not yet ready to meet themselves.
Wow. There's quite a lot of potency in that, like the resistance that you meet. I mean, if somebody's going on a transformational journey, as you're speaking about resistance, there's internal resistance and there's external resistance. What are some of the barriers or things that people encounter internally that stop them from changing and unleashing that potential that you're talking about?
You see, the war within, if you can't conquer it, you cannot win the war without. And some of the challenges people face is the inability to come to a point of self-awareness.
Please go into that.
When a person is aware of their limitations and their area of growth, they are more likely to find and look for solution. And there's a statement that says, when you are ready, the teacher appears.
Yes.
And at that moment, the moment you are awakened to who you are, your bad and your good, the teacher will come to help you in an area that you want to develop. So we can all read the Bible and get the scriptures and to get the revelation. But the true revelation comes when you are at the point of consciousness and you are aware.
Wow.
And that will build you to come into the solution. It's a journey of awareness, discovery, development, and self-mastery. And that's where the level of mind retirement arrives.
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, when you write a book, I always say the first person that will read your book is you. And a lot of times we write books almost to ourselves, but even though it's to ourselves, the world can benefit from it. What are some of the challenges, personal challenges or challenges within organizations that you've been part of that have highlighted the need for transformation in your own life?
I don't know where I ended with the story that I was telling you that last year I was turning 40.
Yes.
And you know the children of Israel, they were moved from Egypt into the land of, and it took them 40 years and not many saw Canaan. And not even David himself arrived at the promised land.
Yes.
And what that meant to me was 40 years is the number of years that I was entering into.
Wow.
So I had to go back into my life and realize what has been holding me back, because the theme for that year was rise up and be like a butterfly, move from the cocoon and like a metamorphosis experience.
Yes.
Now it's time for me to fly, but I cannot spread my wings and fly if I cannot identify the areas that are always keeping on holding me back. Today I could be a billionaire, but why am I not? Today I could be running an empire, why haven't I? Because the skills and the time that a billionaire is having, I also have.
Yeah.
So I need to go back into my life and identify those areas, and I did that. And when I did that, it's through painful experiences that I went through, and painful relationships that I went through, painful situation that led me to realizing that it wasn't about the situation, it was growth that needed to take place within me. So when I arrived at that and identified the areas that groomed me to be where I am and to meet myself, the day when I discovered that I can no longer serve the world, but I need to serve only the one who has sent me here, and to be happy and be at peace. Peace is not arrived at by just saying it. The sound mind. I always say, people say, I'm going on retirement. What does that mean? You can go on retirement and have a lot of money, but the mind is not sound and at peace, you still haven't retired. So I was saying, at 40, and I declared it when I was 35, I knew that I was going to retire at the age of 40. And when I declared it at that time, I saw wealth and I saw money. I saw all those prosperity and what the world calls success. And I didn't realize God was really truly retiring me, because he made me be aware of the things that are holding me back, because I'm no longer being held hostage by not having money. I'm no longer held hostage by not wearing a labeled clothing. Those things, I wear them because I define them, they don't define me. So when we come to things that when emotions are not leading you, but you are in power and in control of your own emotions, you move the mountains.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, now we're going to go into the book. Firstly, the title, you've touched on it, but I want you to go deeper into it. Mind, retirement. What inspired the title?
Okay. I'm asthmatic. In my years of being asthmatic, there were a lot of things that I was told that I can't do. When I do them, I will get an asthma attack. But I never tested them if they were true. And I believed when I was told that if you go into a dust, you'll get an asthma attack. If you run fast, you'll go up. If you go up the stairs, you'll get an asthma attack. So I'm challenging those things now, because I've realized that I've ran with somebody else's pain. My mom was asthmatic and her father was asthmatic. This has been a history of family bondage that was passed from one person to another, and we were told how asthma should be treated. I've never experienced it for myself to say, let me run in the wind, let me run in the rain, let me run in this thing, let me experience that definitely. And if I can conquer it in my mind, let me see if this asthma can really come. So those are the things that then led me to say, how many of things that actually had been told and I believed them. That's one. Secondly, I believe I developed the claustrophobicness. I mean, right now coming to 5th floor in your studio, I used the lift.
The stairs?
I used the stairs, not the lift. Now, I'm challenging that in my mind. Because there was an incident when I was still at tertiary where I was stuck in a lift for almost 12 hours without help. And at that moment, I convinced myself that I will never use a lift. And that has held me back, because even opportunities that came, I remember one day when I got an opportunity to go and study in Canada. For the fact that I had to take a plane, I didn't take that opportunity. And for me, it says, How many things that when you told yourself that you can never, even when somebody owes you money, then you tell yourself something about money, then money start running away from you, that because you told yourself that. So we need to be aware of things that we tell ourselves when the pain hits, because pain is either transform you for good or for bad. And many cases we allow pain to change us in a bad way. So the pain of being stuck in the lift left me to a point that I had started identifying myself as a claustrophobic person, and it's the transformational thing and a retirement that I'm still working on. I take a lift, I have to ask you, come pick me up from the first floor, but I can go into a lift. Before, I would never even go into a building.
Wow.
So there has been steps of change. I am not rushing myself to say I'm free, I can do it. I know that I still am at a level of where I still need to get out of fear. Because fear is number one destructive emotion that holds us back in many cases. So there's fear, there's hurt, there's pain, there is guilt, and these are strong emotions in us. And when we allow them to rule us, we can never go anywhere in life.
Wow. And then, so my retirement is about getting to a place of mental peace, in essence.
Yes. It's about ability to be aware of the self-limiting beliefs. Right now, when you started the studio, at one point, I don't think you knew that you'll be good at it. You started doubting yourself that I'm not good enough. But there are people that thing hold them back for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And they never throw themselves in the deep. And then they start realizing, I'm actually good at doing this.
Yeah, definitely.
So a self-limiting belief is one of the greatest things amongst that really we need to retire from. I'm not good enough. I can't do it. I'm not worthy of making money. Right now, I've been running a crowdfunding with majority of people because I went into it with the understanding that if I say this is my year of now getting into financial freedom, I need to throw myself in the unknown territories. And where we are scared to enter, that's where you should actually be. So now in this journey of us making money through crowdfunding, there's a lot of discovery of how people are fearful of making money and are fearful of losing money. And that comes deep from how your parents were talking to you about money. They were operating and behaving around money and became your reality. And we are here thinking, this year, we know, like it's beginning of the year, we make those resolutions and goals. This year I'm going to be debt free. Provided that you don't have fear of making money and fear of losing money, you will be debt free. We need to come to that point of really understanding what are the self-limiting beliefs. And also the conditioning. When I talk about conditioning, mind conditioning, it can be in the good or in the bad. I mean, if you take our children right now, there was this thing that was trending about a bundle of joy.
Bundles of joy.
Bundles of joy.
That was funny.
That was very funny. But if you look at our children right now, a child of another race, African child and another race like Creek and so on, and how they see themselves. Sometimes we even see in the behavior, or even as an adult who wouldn't feel comfortable with their natural hair, or with their, who feel like the authentic hair makes them feel complete and beautiful, and they cannot identify with not having that. So it's a conditioning. So those are the things that I'm talking about. Like for example of conditioning is believing that doing nails and spending 300 that won't give you 80,000 is better off than when you take that 300 to invest it to make money. It's a conditioning. So we need to identify the conditionings that we run with. Another conditioning, especially about you talking about authors. There's a lot of conditioning that happens with authors. Why are authors not making money?
Well, there's a lot of authors making money, actually.
Those are the ones who have probably achieved a standard, but a majority are struggling.
True.
And are they making money through a book or through
the what you can sell post the book, which is a good point.
You see what I mean?
So it's shifting the mindset.
It's shifting the mindset. You see, being conditioned in a certain way can really hold us back, and especially if you are not aware that you're being conditioned. And then lastly, the destructive emotion. How many families that you know there is a family feud, like there is big fight because a great grandmother was in fight with another sister, and that still happening even today because we're not talking to cousins because of things that happened many years ago.
And some of them don't even know what the true story is.
We're still fighting that battle. And Abona, you are carrying it so strongly, and for you it's a fight. You have to fight, and it's where we are fighting other people's battles, and you don't even know the originality of it, and you don't understand what God has actually made that, why that was happening. And then we ride with other people's lives, and you live your own. Later you realize, where have I left myself? It's because you've ran with things that were not yours.
You allowed somebody else to write your story.
You understand what I mean? That is what's happening when we are watching TV. People are writing stories in our minds through what we are seeing with our eyes. And we don't even identify later where it was my direction, because now I've been influenced by too much of content that I'm absorbing every day.
Wow, powerful. So we discussed a couple of elements about the book. Just from an aesthetics point of view, we'll get into the content. So the book is yellow. And you mentioned that you love the color yellow. You said you studied colors, your nails are yellow. So the importance of the color yellow in your life, what does it mean?
When somebody is in pain or somebody have lost their loved ones, they always say it always shines the next day. I mean, they always say the rainbow, or they always say the sun always shines. The sun is yellow. And the sun, anything for me, yellow represent light, represent the new dawn. And every time when I'm going through a personal life challenge and I'm getting myself through that process of mourning and getting out of it, I would always want to hold something yellow, because it's something that reminds me that there's always a new day. This is just a phase that I'm passing through, and in this phase, let me not rush through it. Let me absorb the learnings in it. Let me hear what I'm being told and being coached into what is the next step than to rush, because sometimes people go through pain and they want to rush out of it. Like, for example, somebody who's in a relationship and has come out of a bad relationship and jump into another new one before they go through the mourning of the lost relationship. Everything you need to mourn, and you mourn it to give your time to understand, why did that happen? And then you don't realize that the next person you attract has similar personality and character than the one, because you didn't mourn the one.
Wow, powerful. That's powerful.
So in order for me to move into the next phase, instead of history repeating itself, I allow to go through the process. And that yellow reminds me that I take in the journey, but the dawn is coming. Don't forget that the new day is coming. But in that, while you're still going through that, endure, learn, and become out better than you were before.
The light at the end of the tunnel.
The light at the end. That is why there's that light at the end of the tunnel. You see, there's a white mark there.
So this represents the
tunnel.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And the tunnel in this case is our mind. Sometimes it feels like there is a dark cloud over our heads that needs to just shift and open up. And when you get that aha moment, and you realize that you've been yourself holding yourself back, then it's like the most liberating thing ever.
You know what I like about that metaphor is that oftentimes the things that hides the sun is the clouds.
Yes.
So when the clouds are removed, the sun can shine.
It comes to you, and the intensity of it, you feel it in your skin, and the warmth of it, it's there. So that is, and the reason why it's not a round circle, because tunnels, they get to have maybe a smooth. It's just to say that it's not going to be a smooth transition from one point to another. And don't think when you have a bad luck or whatever terms that people use when they're going through something. Who should go through it for you?
Wow. The process of transformation from an immature person to a wise adult. That's the tagline. Why that tagline?
The process of transformation from an immature person to a wise adult has nothing to do with age. It has everything to do with wisdom. My people perish because of lack of wisdom. It has everything to do with the ability to confront the most unconfrontable difficult situations fearlessly so, because you understand that you are peeling an onion and you are getting to the core of where God wants you to be. And for me, it's an immature level, is the ability to not be willing to take time to invest in your own self-development. And a mature person is the one, even when things are coming for them, they will not be shifted, because they're sitting with the knowing that that is coming with a lesson, or is coming with a message, or is coming to make me a better version. So the only thing I can do is do not let it consume me, because I have already put a shield around me.
Wow. Content. So part of the book, the section which I like, it says 40 nuggets of my entertainment, and I want us to go through a couple of them. So number 11 says, I have learned to affirm myself and see the good in me. Can you just delve a bit deeper into that statement?
Many of us want people to tell us that you are beautiful. Many of us as men and women, men thrive by being for a woman whom I fell on and appreciating them. They make me become a man, because my woman, and they tend to think it's a sign of respect when a woman does that. A woman wants a man who, like, we stand up and say, how do I look? Because we want affirmation from an external point of view. But the true power comes from within, when you know how you look.
So it's not the affirmation, it's merely confirmation.
It's a confirmation that you have to tell yourself.
Wow.
It's the one that you have to always, even when you don't believe that you are good, tell yourself, I am good, I can do this. And because you are telling and you are rewiring your mind, it's like you are subcoding your mind from all the things that it used to believe about you. Now you're reprogramming it to the new light. So reprogramming the mind, it happens through the form of affirming yourself.
Beautiful. Nugget number 20 rather says, always be open to receive. Delve into that a little.
People, when they think of receiving, they're thinking of only the good things. Also be open to receiving the bad things.
Wow.
Receiving, it's when you have it in your hand. It's up to you to convert it to be what you want it to be. And receiving is that expectation that you have. I mean, look at the pregnant woman who is expecting to receive a child. She is not going to think in her mind that I'm going to receive a dead child. She's already seeing a child playing all the time. She's already seeing how she's going to trust this child when the child is born. That is why we go to shops and buy clothes before the children are born, because we're already picturing how they're going to look in them. Have you seen a pregnant woman looking in the clothes in the store? Already like, no, I like this one. It's going to fit her in this one. Meantime, you have never met the child. How do you know these clothes are going to fit the child?
The mind is already there.
The mind is there.
Yeah. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Number 19. When you carry positive energy, you will attract positive things in life. Explain that.
We are energy. We transmit positive or negative energy. And energy attracts. You attracted me. I attracted you the day we met, hence you called me for this, because you identified me as one of the people you should interview.
Definitely.
That was energy. So because we are energy, and when you don't prepare what you want to receive internally, it's hard for you to attract it. When you are prepared, let me make an example. I've just said to you, you are my first of many interviews to come.
You're attracting.
I'm channeling myself because I know someone is looking and watching this right
They
now.
want to interview.
And those who are meant to watch this are going to receive it. Then this interview is going to go to them. I'm not going to be the one asking for them for an interview. They will be asking me to come for an interview, because my energy is already ready for them.
Wonderful. I like your mindset. Stop agreeing to things that you don't want to do. I think this is something that probably a lot of people struggle with. Can you go deeper into that?
It is in a context of boundaries.
Yeah.
We don't know how to set boundaries. We want people to set boundaries for us, and yet people don't know what we like and what we don't like. In a relationship or in a marriage, it happens a lot that we don't set boundaries for our spouses, so that the spouse knows how to treat you, so that you can be appreciated in the way that you want to be treated. We assume that because he's your partner, he'll know you. How will he know you if you don't tell him? It's the same thing. At workplace, we assume that way things will work out for you, but you don't express how you prefer things to work. I sit my boss down. I would say to her, in order for me and you to work together to achieve one common goal, we need to understand how I work and how you work so that we can find a common space. And that way we'll move forward. So those are part of boundaries. So people who don't know how to have boundaries and people trample over their boundaries, then they become bitter, angry, and so on. Then who's going to fix that? Nobody is going to come back and go back to your life and find where the loopholes are. You yourself have to set boundaries for yourself.
I love that. And when you talk about boundaries, I'm also thinking protection. Because, for example, the boundary here protects us from the external stuff. Even in the boundaries of a country, they are there to make sure that there is no military invasion. If you cross over this boundary, it means now you're instigating war. So protection as well, and a lot of people are not protecting themselves, their lives.
They're not. They are really hoping somebody does it for them. It's like, really, you go into the rain, it's a there's rain, take an umbrella.
and that's a good point, because another country is not responsible for the protection of another country. South Africa has to have its own army that guards its own boundaries. America is not going to do that, and it's the same with us as well.
So what are your personal boundaries? Where are the areas that you've created the loopholes that people come in and take in whatever they want at any time?
And then you end up being miserable. You end up crying, but you didn't set those boundaries.
Miserable. The world, you look like the world hates you. Meantime, you hate yourself.
Oof. On that note, Puseletso, I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you very much.
Where can people find you if they want the book, if they want your services, your coaching?
I am visible. I'm very visible. If you just Google Puseletso, you'll find her. I'm very digital and I'm very approachable. I'm on every social media as Puseletso Modimogale. Even if you can just hashtag mind retirement, it leads you to me.
Wonderful.
We've got a website, Puseletso Modimogale. But at the same time, this is what I want to say.
Yeah.
Don't buy a book if you're not ready to make shift in your life. Don't buy a book because you want to see. This is a self-investment that you have to make and understand that you are going to shift to the next level of your life.
Wow.
And when you come and say, I want the book, don't buy it because of me. Buy it because of you.
Wow.
And this book will be transformational to you.
Oh, beautiful. When you're something somebody said, but we can give you the answers, but we're not going to write the exam for you. Transformation starts with the...
And it's so small, if you can see it.
Yeah.
I made it easy for people to digest it because people buy big books, they hardly complete and reading them. But the intention here was to give more nuggets than it is so that the nuggets can be revealed to you to what it means in your life at that point. So when you're reading this book, it's not the one you read in 2 hours, you're done. Take your time, take a nugget by nugget, day by day, till you get the answer to what it means in your life. Then you can move to the next thing. Because that way, you are now shifting things, internal things are shifting. You are detoxing and you are becoming the new you and you are meeting yourself.
Wonderful. Puseletso Modimogale, you said that URL is puseletso.co.za or .com or .org?
This time is still .co.za.
Okay, wonderful.
They can find me there. And the book is 150 for a copy.
All right.
And if you send us a message in any of these platforms, we are able to respond immediately and courier the book to you. Outside of Pretoria, of course, we charge 100 rand. I'm a businesswoman.
Yeah.
Did I mention that?
You did?
Thank you.
Puseletso, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Mind retirement, transformational coaching. Right here, I feel like I should pay her.
You need to pay.
I feel like I should pay her because I feel like I've just had a coaching session. But please get in touch with her. She will make an impact in your life and in your organization. You've been watching Talk with Confidence with me, Confidence Seleme. Sharp, sharp.